Hello everyone and welcome to Looking at the Test. So I have in front of me Monday's test going from 1800 to 1848 on period 4. As I'm sitting here looking at the test, the first thing that sticks out to me is I see a whole lot about the Missouri Compromise. I see a lot about the Seneca Falls Convention, in which in the mid-1800s a large group of women gathered together and put out the Declaration of Sentiments, in which they sort of established what women's activism and suffrage is going to be all about into the early 1900s. So that's very, very important, and I believe that the Seneca Falls Convention comes up 3 or 4 times on this 22-question test. I see a question here that ties an early woman from the 1600s, and we didn't talk about a whole lot of women, so she shouldn't be too hard for you to figure out, from one of those northern colonies, as she talks about her role in the church and women's role in the church, and it's going to tie that to later movements in the 1800s. Ooh, I see a lot of questions here about Henry Clay and his American system. I see a question here about transcendentalism. But man, make sure that you know Henry Clay and his American system, because he is going to pop up a whole lot. I see a question here about William Henry Harrison, who we didn't talk about a lot, but that's mostly going to be dissecting a political campaign ad, and you ought to be able to figure that out. I see a question here about Thomas Jefferson's introductory speech whenever he came into office, where he was very conciliatory, bringing people together. And I see a number of questions here that you saw in your practice questions, particularly about Webster's Dictionary, particularly about the Tariff of Abominations and those who opposed it. I see questions here about the cult of domesticity. So the way that I would sum this up, I see a lot of questions here about women in the 1800s with the Seneca Falls Convention, the cult of domesticity. I see a lot of questions here about Andrew Jackson, what he felt the role of government was, who he appealed to, why he became president. I also see a lot of questions here about the American system. So those are 3 very, very big things. Of course, as always, there are going to be questions about African Americans' roles in all of this in the 1800s. Make sure that you're studied up for that. I see a few Great Awakening questions. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But this has been Looking at the Test.